Pasar, also commonly known as Old Market Square, located behind Central Market in continuation of Jalan Hang Kasuri. Now, it roughly bordered by the streets of Lebu Pasar Besar and Medan Pasar. The significant landmark of the clock tower of Medan Pasar stands in the middle of the square. Medan Pasar was once the heart of Kuala Lumpur, and its recent development was in 2015. Which is the conversion of streets with shaded trees in the middle continued to a pedestrianized square with greeneries at the edges. Hybrid morphology refers to the transition or overlapping between old and new architecture, culture, and new interventions. Kuala Lumpur started as early as 1850s at the confluence between two rivers, Gombak and Klang. An earlier settlement for the trading activities in Kuala Lumpur was constructed at the confluence between these two rivers to cater for the needs of residents and tin miners. The business activities expanded eastwards to the Klang River, and it has become the focal point of Kuala Lumpur. Rows of shophouses were erected forming the streets. The buildings located at the west bank of Klang River were for the British authorities, while for the Chinese settlement of commercial and tradings concentrated to the east bank of the river. Medan Pasar was once a well-known area of brothels and illegal gambling dens, built of wood and uptopped by the Chinese community when the place is led by Kapitan Yap Loi. After a fire overwhelmed Kuala Lumpur in the late 18th, the British resident Frank Swettenham concealed that all structures should be built of increasingly tough and strong materials. Hence, Kapitan Yap Loi built the shophouses with bricks to replace them. In the early 20th century, three-story commercial buildings were built in the architectural style of Neoclassical for a new trading center after the relocation of the Old Market to the current Central Market by Frank Swettenham. With the clock tower erected in 1937 in commemoration of the coronation of King George VI, this significant landmark has therefore become the focal point of the area. Our analysis is done based on the book Responsive Environment by Ian Bentley. We analyzes the site Medan Pasar using the qualities of responsive environments, which related to our theme, hybrid morphology. The main four elements have found at Medan Pasar were permeability, variety, richness, and visual appropriateness. The quality of permeability depending on the number of alternative ways of a given environment. Pedestrians are easy to navigate to the site as they walk through Petaling Street, continuing to Jalan Hang Kasuri and then lastly arriving at Medan Pasar. The zebra crossings on site increases the degree of permeability on site. The site can be accessed through Lebu Pasar Besar, Jalan Tun Tan Siew Sin, Jalan Tun Perak to Jalan Tun Tan Siew Sin and Jalan Hang Kasuri. Lebu Pasar Besar connects the site, which located at the east side to the west side of the Klang River. Hence, Medan Pasar is considered to be highly accessible by pedestrians and public transports, such as bus and LRT. Variety refers to the variety of experiences and uses of the site. Primary uses of the site provides service for bank and money transfers for the immigrants. The secondary uses on site are mainly cafe, hotel, telecommunications, and selling of accessories. However, there are vacant shop lots on site, especially for the first and second floor. The public square formed between two shop rows, providing gathering spots for the visitors. At the same time, it also acts as a transitional space for the pedestrians and motorists. Hotel and banks, which held along the shophouses, have higher mass of the building. Thus, it has created the visual contrast with the old shophouses. The hotels and banks located at Lubuk Ampang are of very large scale. The two rows of traditional shophouses with lower skyline in comparison with the high skyline of modern buildings at Lubuk Ampang, hence creating a strong visual contrast to the overall skyline of the two adjoining streets. From the large-scale queue, both traditional shophouses and modern high-rise buildings, with each floor horizontally expressed, creating clear horizontal rhythm. Richness referring to the increasing in variety of sense experiences of a user. However, reduction of visual richness in recent years can be seen on the building facades. The visual monotony of the recent modern building at Lubuk Ampang, creating a contrast with the visual richness provided by the shophouses at Medan Pasar. The large-scale modern buildings of increased height and width ratio have thus directed users viewing up to the void formed between the buildings. Repeating elements used resulting the building to be read as a single pattern. Therefore, it reduces the viewing time by the users, hence, they only focus on the ground level details. From a closer range, buildings required small-scale elements and subdivisions of the elements in order to maintain its richness. Different patterns and elements can be found on the facade of a building of different architectural style that built over the years. Richness at high level depends greatly on the projection on the facades. Transitional. These shophouses were built of bricks, usually accompanied by tiled roof, which replaced the timber and thatch hut. Neoclassical. From the top of the neoclassical shophouse, we can see the Grecian pediment, followed by columns and molded plaster swags that decorates this facade. It also includes a parapet at the top of the building and ornate window frames. Dutch Patrician. A Dutch-inspired gable was later added onto the front facade of this shophouse. Art Deco. It incorporates combination of geometrical shapes and simplified rectilinear lines, which were brought forth from the 1920s styles. The Clock Tower, 1937. This Art Deco memorial with unique sunburst motifs at the base were erected to honor the coronation of England's King George VI. Visual contrast also produced from the differences of color or tone on the two-dimensional surfaces, which can be found at Medan Pasar ground surfaces to highlight the importance of the square. The flooring pattern on the ground dispersed from the center clock tower throughout the historical site with intention for a user to colonize the center of the space. The clock tower located at the middle of the square draws people to the center. Some people lean on the monument for some support. The seating provided at both sides and the middle of the square also allows the user to sit and enjoy the view. In conclusion, through the journey from Medan Pasar to Lubuk Ampang, beginning from small-scale queues in terms of ornamented windows, pediments, and more of the traditional shophouses, slowly zooming out to the large-scale queues of the buildings in terms of the scale, rhythms, and skyline, forming an unconventional twist to the people. Traditional aesthetics shophouses, in contrast with the modern functional high-rise buildings, shows the growth of city fulfilling the modern needs of society without losing its cultural and historical values.